I think a little bit of both, actually. I mean, from our perspective, we love the region. I mean, in the last 5 years since I first started coming here, the amount of change that we've seen is incredible. And so many different events like the Fashion Futures event from the Ministry of Culture and the Saudi 100 designers, and obviously, your Retail Leader Circle conference, as well as FII, which a lot of the finance community come to every year. There's just so much going on. And when you look at Saudi 2030 vision, it's incredible. I mean, just to see the buildings going up at the rate that they're going up, and to see all of the developments in tourism and in hotels and in restaurants, and having so many new flagship stores and malls, it's quite incredible. And I think it's going to be a great area for investment over the next few years. It's funny. I've just completed 2 years of a mentoring program in Saudi as part of the Fashion Futures lab. And I had the privilege to mentor 2 young designers, one an evening wear designer and one a marketing executive. So like 2 very different young women, but both with their own businesses and both evolving. And it is interesting, and it is nice to mentor young women because, when you look at it, so Fernbrook, for example, over 60% of our assets are female-founded, female-led. And, I find that as a woman, when you invest in other women, 10 other women find you, and we've had great success, actually, investing in female founders, and especially, female founders that have disruptive technologies and platforms that they can scale. And so it will also be interesting to see some of our investments coming to the region, but equally maybe having some of the region's talent coming to the US. So yeah, I very much see it as a two-way street. Although of course we come here to fundraise, and of course we come here also to invest. And so now doing a JV with a local group so that we can see more Saudi talent. On my last visit here, the year before last, I had the privilege of sitting in with a session of young founders who had created disruptive strategies and that were doing like a pitch day here in Saudi. And it was part of the Ministry of Investment who was sponsoring these young kids. And, half of them were women. Half of them were women, half of them were men. And I think that wouldn't have happened a few years ago. And I think it's just so great to see, this talent being homegrown and coming into its own. And I think, looking at Saudi, the vision for 2030, but also looking at some of the stats that we were told today. We were told today that by 2035, 75% of the population will be middle class. We were told today, about the sort of fast growth of 2-income households. We were told today that the population is going to increase by 10 million over the next 10 years, which is quite phenomenal stats. And when you look at the GDP growth in the region, and you look at the population growth in the region, this is a very good region for investment. I think it's quite surprising. Like most of the people that I've spoken to, the people that come every year, less surprising, but people that have come for the first time, they're really quite surprised. Like they're quite surprised by the developments, by the advancements that have been made, by the investment in hotels and the plans for tourism and the plans for hospitality and the plans for retail. And again, someone was saying today on one of the panels, most of our malls are from 20 years ago. It's time to do new malls and have the malls of the future here. And I like that. And, listening to the speakers from the Saudi Ministry of Tourism, interesting, making the magic happen, whether it's snow in the desert or whether it's, in some of the very luxurious flagship malls. And I think the thing that I also liked a lot about this 10th year conference was how people were at the forefront of everything. Talent was at the forefront of everything, and investing in talent, investing in the local people, and really delivering the customer service and the elevated levels of standards that we haven't seen really here in the past. I think that's going to be a game changer. that's going to make a big difference.